So you have a coffee and you're trying to dial it in on Aeropress and it's just not tasting quite where you want it to be. Well, I competed in the 2024 US Aeropress Championship and ended up getting 3rd place. And I used my winning Canadian Comandante Championship recipe. I had to go through 15 iterations of this recipe to dial in the competition coffee for it to be tasting really nice. In this video, of course, we'll go over my recipe, but mostly I want to be able to give you some helpful tips that you can use that can help you finagle the recipe into making your coffee taste really, really nice. Number 1, come down in temperature a little bit and coarsen up your grind size. If your coffee is a little more developed, like this competition coffee is, I ended up coming down 5 degrees and going 2 clicks coarser on the Comandante, which is my grinder of choice. I ended up sticking with the same ratio. We're going 13 grams of coffee in with 200 grams or milliliters of water out. Number 2, lower your target brew time. For a slightly more developed coffee, I'm going to be ending my brew at 2 minutes and 5 seconds, and I'm starting my plunge at 1:45. Not only are we coming down about 15 seconds in total brew time, but we're also shortening up the plunge by about 10 seconds. This small difference, I think, makes a pretty big difference in the cup and helps us kind of bring out a little bit more flavor while not overdoing it in this recipe. You're gonna go ahead and start by pouring 200 grams or milliliters of water into your Aeropress, and then you're going to add 13 grams of coffee on top of your water. Don't forget to start your timer as soon as the coffee makes contact with the water. You're gonna wanna stir for about 30 seconds. Stir very thoroughly here. You wanna make sure that all your grounds are saturated and there aren't any dry clumps in the coffee. Another change that I made to this recipe was at the 1 minute and 35 mark, we're just gonna take our spoon or our stir stick, and we're gonna give the grounds just a little bit of a stir. It's not a lot, it's just a little bit, and that's just to kind of loosen up the grounds, so when we turn over the Aeropress, the grounds are not stuck on the outside walls and actually are sitting in the water. Boom, just a small little stir. Turn the Aeropress over at 140 and plunge at 145. And again, this is a pretty quick plunge, and you want to end at 2 minutes and 5 seconds. One thing I remembered while editing, if you're still not satisfied with the cups that you're getting, could be one of 2 issues. Number 1, it could be a water thing. You need to change the water that you're using. Or number 2, you're just not brewing coffees that you're enjoying. And so if that's you, there's a link down in the description to some of our coffees that we're roasting and selling. They will crush with this recipe easily. They'll taste very, very nice, and you'll be able to enjoy a very tasty cup of coffee. All right, back to the video. As you're tasting your coffee, this is a great time to start reevaluating your brew and see if there needs to be any more changes that need to happen. It's actually tasting pretty good. The coffee is kind of pushed in development a little bit. However, with this recipe, it's kind of taming the coffee a little bit. It's not pulling too much out where you're getting harshness and maybe bitterness and unpleasant flavors. But it's also not under extracting the coffee. You're still getting a lot of those fruity berry notes. This is a natural processed coffee. Something I've noticed with the Aeropress is that if you're tasting your cup and you're just getting coffee flavor, it's a full-bodied big coffee flavor with not really any distinct notes that you know are in the cup. It actually helps to coarsen up your grind to bring out more flavor, which is oftentimes counterintuitive. If you're tasting sourness in your cup, you want to actually push the recipe just a little bit. And so you might want to actually fine up your grind a little bit. You might want to extend your total brew time a little bit. Be really gentle with your adjustments, change one thing, and then move from there and evaluate as you go. Hopefully this was beneficial in helping you dial in your specific coffee with my winning Aeropress recipe. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. And friends, as we always say, remember, reflect what's good.